All right, guys, one of my best pieces of advice that I would always give people is bite off more than you can chew and then chew it. So I did that, and that put me a little bit behind, so I'm sorry about getting the rest of this stream breakdown with MHollow, Tom Brady, and Bloodcount up. This is a continuation of that podcast, so you can watch the rest of this playlist to get the rest of the breakdown. We've been covering some pretty gnarly subject matter, and to put me through the suffering of hearing all that bad news, and yeah, we're gonna do some more, so buckle up, get ready for the party, and try not to be too depressed. Hi, I'm SoCal Honey Badger. I ain't never gonna design! And that was my intro. Alright, if you're just punching in, we're trying to power through probably the most difficult interview I've ever had to listen to, and I promised you guys that I'd go through the whole thing and break down everything piece by piece, and we'd have a little bit of a discussion, like a conversation, YouTube, right? But it's just been very hard for me to get through this whole thing because basically we've confirmed all the bad news, everything awful and terrible that you thought about Mortal Kombat. It's kind of all true. And now we're going to find out what more is true, because, man, the hits just keep on hitting.
For COVID, I would walk around and see hey, because, we would have meetings, especially with visual effects or whatever, and be like, hey, this Liu Kang's fireballs got checked in because the animations came in. And, the latest builds got all the particle effects. And I'd kind of go around and it's just nobody's really playing the game. And then when it came crunch time, as soon as 7 o'clock hit, everybody went home except for designers. We were there, and QA. QA was there too, all the way till midnight and 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. and Saturdays and Sundays. And I just kind of noticed too when the game shipped and there's kind of that downtime to get ready for DLC. People weren't having matches in the studio. People weren't saying yo, hey, I'm playing your character Reiko. Let's have some matches because I really want to pick your brain or see what's going on. What am I doing wrong here? There really wasn't none of that. And then
I got NetherRealm. You're not watching. You don't give a shit. You don't even fucking like me. How are you trying to convince us to play your game when you can't even be bothered to do so yourself? They don't even want to play this shit. You go on Twitter and you complain about Mortal Kombat and all the shills come out. Yeah, there's shits too, but all the shills come out. And it's yeah, but it's broken and it doesn't work and I don't want to play. You're just a hater. And it's bro, no, I'm not. They don't want to play this shit. The people that make this game literally can't wait to clock out at 7 o'clock. They want to work banker. I was a banker. They want to work banker's hours. Cushy, pussy ass. I don't want to do nothing but the bare minimum and collect a check while my underlings bust their ass for me. That's all of NetherRealm except for this guy who said him and the QA team, the designers, were there till midnight making sure this shit was good. But I tell you what, Bloodcount probably didn't make a bunch of money off of this game. No, the people that got off at 7 o'clock did. And they're all boomer scumbags that want to sit there and be like, I paid my dues. No, paid your dues doesn't mean you get to sit there and siphon value off of the rest of us for the rest of your life, you old bags. Get off at 7 o'clock and don't come back. I'm serious when I say that NetherRealm needs to do some serious spring cleaning. They need to lay off and remove so many people at such if I were in charge of NetherRealm, I'd basically fire everybody who wasn't on the design team and the QA team. I wouldn't even say shit. I would just be there at 7 o'clock and I would take the punch cards of everybody walking out and then I would burn them. Like, that's it. That's just what I would do. You're literally not here to fucking fix the game. You're literally not here to work on this shit. You don't care. You just want a paycheck. You can find a better one elsewhere. We don't pay you shit. Right? If I were running NetherRealm, I'd be like, listen, I don't pay you shit. You don't make a lot of money. So if you're not here because you love Mortal Kombat, then like we don't really need you because I can find someone else. Clearly they outsource everything. Clearly they see all their passionate developers as, you know, replaceable cogs in a machine, while some fat fuck piece of shit, some DEI hire, is sitting there putting their stupid ass shit in the game. Paulo doing his black magic and then getting off his... Just keep it going.
During remote COVID, then there really wasn't any of that. And
so you didn't check each other's work or nothing like that, or?
Well, me and a designer would have matches against each other with our characters and just kind of like pick each other's brains, do whatever we think we should do. But at the end of the day, Paulo is going to do the final balancing and frame data and what move is a high, what moves an overhead. Because sometimes I design a move to be an overhead, and then when he goes to do his balance stuff before the game ships, it's like, oh, now it's a high. And it's kind of like, well, shit, now he kind of lost his...
Well, that makes sense why all the fucking animations are shit, right? People are always like, why does this look like an overhead? Well, it's supposed to be. Then Paulo added his voodoo magic, and now it's a high, even though it looks like an overhead. So... yeah, but Paulo, you know, who brags about not knowing how to play the game, brags about being awful at him. Holy fuck, dude. I gotta stream this shit later, man. I have to stream this fucking, what is it, I have to stream this fucking game.
Overhead starter, which would really complement his command grab or complement his setup with stars or whatever. And,
can I ask you a question around I guess you've kind of answered this already, but is it safe to assume there wasn't a rigorous testing for the DLC characters, because all of them that launched seem to come with glitches?
You know, I know in
Just
I don't know
it,
how many
dude.
QA testers are in house. I know at its peak during Injustice 2 there was probably about 40 QA testers. But they do a lot of studios do outsource QA to like a place called QLoc in Poland, and then I think WB used to use Montreal as a QA house until they became a development studio. So there are some outsourcing QA that get assigned to stuff, and I guess sometimes things get missed. And again, those outsourcer people are not going to be nuanced hardcore fighting game people that really know the edge cases, that really can pick up Reiko in 2 seconds or 2 minutes or whatever.
You're saying all of this here, but MKX, like in my opinion, is a really good fighting game, and it comes across to me like people gave a damn when that game was being made. Is the team that works on MKX completely different? Because I know you said it had different designers, but were there people in the office passionate about MKX and testing it with each other, or was that literally like they got lucky with that game?
No. Well, during MKX, especially in QA, Stephanie was able to bring in her friends who were like local Chicago, local tournament people. These weren't people going to Evo and maybe they competed in Combo Breaker because it was in Chicago, but they definitely weren't going to like Evo and CEO and all those places. And they were just like, even in their lunch breaks and the dinner break during crunch, like, yeah, they were having matches galore. And, like I think I said earlier with you and Tom, that, Stephanie was extremely passionate and would like go into Paulo's office and be like, yo, Paulo,
all the time.
why is this a high? And why is, now that you changed it to this breaks this, but this doesn't make this useful anymore. So there was strong passion, especially for MKX.
And now Stephanie's broken.
In design too, because MKX was my first opportunity to do characters. Because in Injustice
You look
1,
right, and I mean, I don't know Stephanie. I've never interacted with that person. I don't have any real opinions on them outside of criticisms of the quality of the game that's released. But if you've been following Mortal Kombat as long as I have, you're familiar with Stephanie Brownback. 16-bit was the gamer tag from back in the day, and that's why they used to be Steven Brownback, now they're Stephanie, now they're 16-bit. They've always been 16-bit to me. And you can, and so I bring that up because the next point I'm trying to make is I want you to understand me clearly. If you watch Brownback's engagement with Mortal Kombat back in like MK9 up until, recently, you can see this stark downward sour vibe, right? Like the passion is like gone. The love is just like barely there. It's almost compulsory. When you see Stephanie talking about, the lore, remember the Stephanie's lore minute, and like that used to be like a thing, and now like occasionally Stephanie will throw in a bit of lore, but for the most part you feel like Stephanie's just trying to get through these combat casts. And it's like, yeah, like you see it. Like these people have been broken, man. I feel bad for Stephanie Brownback, to be honest. Like, you look at this shit that Stephanie's been going through working for this company, and all 16-bit ever wanted to do was just make their favorite fucking video game. Like, be a part of history, right? Contribute to a game that 16-bit, like, you can criticize whatever you want about the quality assurance of the game, but 16-bit got that job because they got tournament results. Like 16-bit has like top 8 Evos. Like, they know how to play. They're good. At one point, they loved Mortal Kombat. Right now, I don't know. But it's like, you could hear it now from Bloodcount. It's like, yeah, dude, in MKX, Stephanie Brownback was in there grinding. Like, let me get them reptile combos. Let me get that Shinnok. All right, oh, you've been working on Ferritor. Give me that. Let's do it. And to know that that's not even the case now.
Star Labs to help get that out the door. and again, with QA, a lot of those guys were, local players. That's how Dizzy came into the scene. Luckily
Dizzy still
for
works
us,
there, I believe.
He had C# or C++ experience at a I guess he was doing bank software or something like that. And he was like, oh yeah, well, not only is
Designer.
he
Had another job.
And I know he was a QA tester on Killer Instinct for a little bit too, which was in Chicago. But it was just like, hey, we have this QA tester that is not only a local pro player, but he also knows C++. He loves our game. He understands our game. He's friends with Stephanie. Oh, and then he won Combo Breaker against Sonic Fox, I think it was in 2015 with Raiden on MKX. And it was like, okay, let's get this guy as a designer. So we lucked out with somebody like Dizzy. But all the other hires coming.
I know I should probably make this the next clip instead of discussing this right here. But it's like, bro, they're so blatant with the cheating. Like, they're talking about how during MKX, Stephanie Brownback was bringing in her friends to fucking QA this shit, Dizzy included, and then goes on to talk about how Dizzy won Evo for the game that, because Dizzy was never an officially signed employee. Like, wow. Wow. So, like, Dizzy was up in there designing the game that he would eventually go on to become world champion of. how am I the only person that sees the conflict of interest? Like, how am I the only person that doesn't see this as just outright blatant cheating on like a massive scale? Like, everybody who competed at that Evo could literally say they were cheated and ripped. Like, they could sue over that shit, if I'm not mistaken. Like, Sonic Fox, although I'm pretty sure Sonic Fox is in on the same shit, Sonic Fox could sue for losing that Evo. But I'm pretty sure Sonic Fox does the same shit, so I'm pretty sure anybody that got beat by Sonic Fox. But see, that's why they have their whole Sonic Fox Mafia. Nobody gets into top 32 if you're not friends with them. I'm not going into that shit. I'm calling this here and moving on to the next clip. Just gotta be good, man. Just gotta be good. Hey, so, if you follow YouTube enough, you know that they like to put weird stuff all over the screen for the last 30 seconds. So this is gonna fill that space. Yeah. Yeah. It's probably right there and there. All over the place right now. Yeah, go ahead and click that stuff if you want. And that's 30 seconds.